warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nika Dwi Adisti, and here's my presentation about uh, Chapter 8, Meaning and Language, Comparison and Exploration of Translation, Problems, Cultural Nuance, and Theories of Language. First of all, lesson outcomes. First one is translation problems. The second is Headache International, and the third is relativism and universalism, Berlin and Case investigation of color terms and the consequence. The first one is translation problems. Translation is more substitution of word from one language to another. It involves the transference of meaning, cultural context, and nuance that may not have direct equivalence. That complexity results in several challenges. One primary issue is the concept of untransferable words which are terms in one language that have no direct counterpart in another. For instance, the German word Schadenfreude, place they derive from another's misfortune, has no single English word that captures its full meaning. Additionally, syntactic differences across language complicate translation. For example, while English follows a subject-verb-object structure, language like Japanese use a subject-object-verb structure, requiring not just word translation, but structural configuration. Another significant problem is the loss of cultural context. Idiomatic, idiomatic expression, humor, and proverbs often lose their essence when translated. For example, the French phrase "term midi a quarters heures" to look for noon at 2 p.m. conveys the futility of looking off for something where it cannot be found, a nuance that can be lost in direct translation. Translator must therefore not only convert language but also interpret and adapt cultural reference to maintain the intended meaning. International. The translation process can become a metaphorical headache on an international scale. This challenge becomes evident in diplomatic communiques, legal documents, and literature. Diplomatic language requires precision to avoid misunderstanding that could lead international conflict. For instance, the term decolonization can be interpreted differently by different countries, potentially leading to significant geopolitical implications. In legal translation, precision is paramount to maintain the integrity of laws and context. Even minor discrepancies can lead to substitutional legal disputes. Literally, translation, on the other hand, demands a balance between staying to the author's original styles and making the text accessible and enjoyable for the new audience. Translating poetry exemplifies this struggle as it often involves maintaining rhythm, rhyme, and meaning, which is a delicate and intricate task. And the next is relativism and universalism. The debate between linguistic relativism and universalism address whether language shapes thought or of if there are universal connective process underlying all language. Relativists like Edward Sapir or Benjamin Lee Hoare argue that language influences perception or cognition. According to Sapir-Whorf's hypothesis, speakers of different language experience the world differently. For example, the Hopi language, which lacks tense, supposedly leads its speaker to experience time in a non-linear fashion. Conversely, Universalists such as Noam Chomsky posit that all human languages share a common underlying structure, evidenced by the existence of universal grammar. This perspective suggests the cognitive processes are the same across culture, and and differences in language are superficial. Empirical research, including studies on color perception and spatial orientation, continues to fuel this debate. For example, while some languages have numerous terms for colors, all humans seem to perceive color similarly, indicating a potential universal basis for color perception. According to Berlin and Kay's investigation of color terms, Berlin and Kay's seminal research on color terms sought to bridge the gap between relativism and universalism. They investigate how different languages categorize colors and found a pattern. Language tend to develop color terms in light. As they evolve, they add terms for red, the green and yellows, and so on. Their research indicates that while the categorization of colors is influenced by cultural factors, there's a universal pattern to how these categories develop. This finding supports the notion that our universal contains of how language evolved, challenging the strong version of language relativity. It suggests the certain cognitive processes are initiated and shared among all humans, even if cultural nuance shape the specific of language development. The next is consequence. These consequences of these linguistic theories and translation challenge are profound, affecting various domains such as artificial intelligence, education, and cross-cultural communication. In AI, for instance, developing natural language processing systems that accurately understand and translate human language, requiring navigating the intricacies of both linguistic relativity and universality. Educationally, understanding this concept can enhance language teaching methodologies by recognizing the cognitive and cultural dimension of language learning. In cross-cultural communication, acknowledging the limitation and potential of translation can lead to more effective and empathetic interaction. It fosters an appreciation for the complexity of language and the importance of cultural context, promoting better international relations and mutual understanding. As is the conclusion. In conclusion, the exploration of translation problems, linguistic relativism, and universal reveals the intricate relationship between language, thought, and culture. Berlin and Kais investigating into color terms exemplifies the blend of universal cognitive process and cultural specificity. The consequence of this insight extend far beyond linguistic, influencing technology, education, and global communication. That is all for me. Thank you so much for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.